Well, hey folks, it's your old pal King Krampus, and welcome to day 11 of 31 Days of Halloween with your pal,
King Krampus.
So today's film, in honor of the fact that apparently Tron Ares has performed worse than Jared Leto's last big movie, Morbius, we're going to talk about Morbius. Now, it's adapted from an old Marvel comic. I only ever really encountered the character during that run in the 90s of the Midnight Suns characters, where they had two Ghost Riders and Blade and a couple others thrown in the mix, with all the horror characters together. What little I remember of Morbius's comic was that it was kind of boring. He was all right as a character when included in ensemble pieces and crossovers between the different titles, but completely just unmemorable, just as the single run of just the character's particular comic series. But he was part of a package of Spider-Man characters that were sold to Sony back when Marvel was trying to avoid bankruptcy at the end of the 90s, or somewhere around the year 2000. And, well, here we are. I have no personal grudge against the guy for any reason, but I'm kind of hoping that the flop of Tron Ares might be the nail in the coffin of Jared Leto's career. People don't seem to be responding well to him on either side. It's not just the usual people on YouTube who complain about every actor and every movie out there as being woke or all that kind of stuff, but I've seen quite a few left-leaning YouTube channels also be complaining about the guy, and the comments, as soon as I saw that Jared Leto was in this, that was a red flag. I mean, that's, public opinion is what it is, and I don't know what fantastic casting agent he has that they keep giving him these gigs. One would think after Morbius that they wouldn't have made this mistake again, but apparently, Tron Ares was in development for a long-ass time, and so he was kind of locked in a long time ago before anyone realized that he's apparently box office poison. I guess we would need a third big Jared Leto flop to say for sure it's a pattern, but this is two notable instances in a row. Now, ironically, the one good thing apparently out of Tron Ares is the Nine Inch Nails soundtrack, which I personally quite like myself. I'm not sure where I would rank it overall, and with all the Nine Inch Nails albums, but it's up there. I'd say it's almost as good as With Teeth. It's mixed in with some of his non-lyrical soundscape albums, like the various Ghosts albums and stuff like that. I would say it's better than Hesitation Marks and Year Zero. And ironically, Morbius himself, the way the movie is, he looks like something out of a Nine Inch Nails video. So, it's kind of sad that Morbius didn't have any Nine Inch Nails music in this one. That might have made it a slightly more watchable experience. But anyway, the story of Morbius is he was a famous comic book artist who did some, notable work for the old heavy metal comic magazine back in the 70s. Famously an inspiration behind the director who did Luc Besson, whatever the guy's name is, the French director who made The Fifth Element. Famously, Morbius's art was part of the inspiration for all that, and for some reason the Marvel Comics decided to turn him into somebody who gains crippling levels of autism to a point where he's having to walk around on canes, and he becomes a doctor and cures himself by creating some sort of artificial blood using vampire bats that causes him to transform into Morbius, the living vampire. And I mean, it's not great. I don't even really think it gives you that bad movie but it's fun to watch kind of stuff. It's just purely a bad movie out of a long run of bad movies that Sony has made out of Spider-Man characters. I'm sure on some level they got to be very confused when they see the box office returns and they're like, but people liked Venom. How come they're not liking Kraven the Hunter and Morbius and Venom 2 and Venom 3? Like, they're the same level of crap as the original Venom, but people like that one. And yeah, people did like that first Venom movie. And that's largely attributed to the fact that people are stupid and like bad things sometimes. And that was that. Like the sad cameo at the end with Michael Keaton. Man, Michael Keaton really got kind of yo-yoed around a lot by the comic book industry over the last few years, hasn't he? Having like a whole Batman movie canceled and getting to be in the Flash movie. Oh joy. I mean, what's worse, having to be in a movie with Ezra Miller or having to be in a movie with Jared Leto? Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. And anyway, I guess let's go ahead and get this travesty over with, and then we'll talk some more on the other side. Oh yeah, one of the Doctor Who's is in it. The one that was the young Doctor Who, but now looks like the fugly Doctor Who. What the hell's going on with his face? It's like his face bones keep growing. Or something. What a terrible condition to find oneself in. Like eventually he could play the guy from that movie Mask without having to actually wear any prosthetics like skull tattoo back in the 80s. They cast him to play a mutant freak Targaryen. But seriously though, like why do they keep casting this guy? Because is he still riding clout off of winning an Oscar for having a side role playing a transsexual in a weepy Matthew McConaughey movie about AIDS? Is that why? Does his agent give good head? Does he give good head? Like, just... I mean, maybe he's really nice. Obviously his cultists think so. And in the end, he wins the day by throwing a lot of bats at the other vampire. All right, we're done. Morbius. Personally, if I were the estate of the real Morbius, and someone made a movie about me where they turned me into some sort of crippled vampire guy instead of talking about all the wonderful art and comic books I did in France back in the day, like inspiration behind Barbarella and the art department that made the Flash Gordon movie. I mean, like, very influential artist in that this is how they portray him. It's just weird. I wonder who signed off on that, and that no one ever sued Marvel for doing that to the guy. Well, anyway, I guess that's about it. Tune in tomorrow for another episode of 31 Days of Halloween with your pal, King Krampus. We will talk about another movie, perhaps Spaceballs. I was originally going to do Spaceballs today, but then after seeing the news about how terribly Tron Ares has performed in the theaters, I decided to switch to Morbius instead. But I do still want to talk a little bit about my trepidations about the Spaceballs 2 that's being made right now as we speak. So tune in tomorrow for that. Hit like and subscribe and hit the bell and leave a comment for the algorithm. And hype the video and check out the description box. You'll find a link to maybe buy a book or something and all that other good stuff as we get closer and closer to the end of 31 Days of Halloween with your pal, King Krampus. So until next time,
stay crampinated.
First of all, what went through my mind is how stupid am I to actually volunteer for this. It was unbelievably painful.